Section 61. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shaolin Temple, Chen Kun left immediately after learning that his identity was exposed. Damn, what the hell is going on? My whereabouts were very secretive, so why were they suddenly exposed? Chen Kun's facial features were ferocious, and he was very confused in his heart. He carefully recalled what he had done. No trace was left. The more he thought about it, the less Chen Kun understood. Why was it exposed? After thinking for a moment, Chen Kun stopped delving into the matter. At least Yang Dingtian is dead. Junior sister, why are you so stupid? Why do you want to die for Yang Dingtian? Chen Kun's expression was very painful. All he did was to get back together with his junior sister. As a result, Yang Dingtian died, and Chen Kun originally thought he could always be with his junior sister. He didn't expect that the junior sister would feel guilty and die for Yang Dingtian. This shocked Chen Kun very much. It also strengthened his determination to destroy the Ming cult. No matter who is behind this matter, I will do my best to destroy the Ming cult. Chen Kun secretly swore in his heart. Then, he disappeared into the night. Ming Dynasty, Huashan Sword Sect. Since the death of Yubuchuan, the Huashan Sword Sect has become leaderless. Many disciples have left the Huashan Sword Sect. For a time, the Huashan Sword Sect, which was originally ranked among the top 3 among the 5 mountain sword sect, fell directly to the last position. At this time, the Huashan Sword Sect once again faced new challenges. Mrs. Yu, don't blame me for not reminding you. Now that Yubuchuan is dead, the Huashan Sword Sect has long lost its former reputation. Our Zhuo leader has said that as long as you agree to support the unification of the 5 sacred sword sects, you will elect Zhuo leader as the alliance leader. Songshan sect will give Huashan Sword Sect its due status. If you don't agree, don't blame us for being rude. The speaker was Fei Bin, the third among the 13 Taibao of the Songshan Sword Sect. He was the younger brother of Zhuo Lingchan, the leader of the Songshan Sword Sect. After Fei Bin finished speaking, he looked Ning Zhongzi up and down. Although Ning Zhongzi is already quite old and has a daughter, he is quite beautiful. Ning Zhong felt very uncomfortable when Fei Bin saw him, but now the form is stronger than the person. The Huashan Sword Sect has long lost its former glory, and she alone cannot resist the Songshan Sword Sect. Please go back and tell Master Zhuo that Huashan Sword Sect will consider this matter carefully. Ning Zhongzi said helplessly. It's not that I don't trust you, Mrs. Yu. But what Master Yu did originally made people doubt the integrity of the Huashan Sword Sect. In order to snatch the elixirs and sword skills from his apprentice, he did not hesitate to drive away the apprentice, and then prepared to intercept and kill the disciple's leader on the way. The credibility of such a sect makes people have to doubt it. I'll tell Madam Yu the truth. If it weren't for retaining the strength of the 5 mountain sword sect, Huashan Sword Sect is gone long ago. Fei Bin said coldly. He didn't speak politely at all, and he didn't think through his words. In his opinion, the fact that he could talk to Ning Zhongzi calmly here meant that the Songshan Sword Sect was showing mercy to the Huashan Sword Sect. Junior brother Fei, if you say so. We at Huashan Sword Sect will never agree with what you just said. Even if we die, we will die standing up. We will never kneel down and pray for survival. Ning Zhong said coldly. She herself enjoys the title of heroine among women in the Ming Dynasty. He has awe-inspiring justice, extraordinary courage, and excellent martial arts skills. Even her former rival, the head of the Sun Moon God sect, Wuxing, thinks she is braver than men. Facing the aggressive posture of Fei Bin and the Songshan Sword Sect, naturally, Ning Zhongzi would not let the other party control him. Ning Zhongzi, don't toast me without eating. You will be punished by drinking wine. With the current strength of the Huashan Sword Sect, anyone who offends our Songshan Sword Sect will definitely not end well. If you don't think about yourself, you should also think about the disciples of Huashan Sword Sect. You want to die, do they want to die too? And your precious daughter Yu Lingshan. Lu Bai beside Fei Bin said, he is the second among the 13 Taibao of the Songshan Sword Sect. After Ning Zhong heard this, his aura disappeared instantly. At this moment, Yu Lingshan walked in. Mother, Yu Lingshan shouted. Mom, what's wrong with you? What happened? Seeing that something was wrong with Ning Zhongza's expression, Yu Lingshan asked hurriedly. This must be my niece. She is really beautiful and has a pretty face. You are very similar to Mrs. Yu. For such a beautiful woman, Mrs. Yu probably wouldn't want anything to happen to her. Lu Bai said with a smile. He knew that what he just said had hit Ning Zhongza's weakness. Just keep holding on to this matter. Ning Zhong would definitely agree with the Xuanhuan sword sect's opinion. Who are you? Yu Lingshan asked coldly. Although I don't know what just happened, however, she was certain that the two people in front of her must have bullied her mother. Lingshan, get out of here first. Mom and them have something to discuss. Ning Zhong said. She didn't want her daughter to know the current situation of Huashan sword sect. She also didn't want her daughter to get involved in these messy things. Section 62. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why is Madam Yu so anxious? We can talk better if my niece is here. Isn't that right? Lu Bai said calmly, and then gave Fei Bin a look. Fei Bin understood and stood up to block the door. It was clear that he was not going to let Yu Lingshan leave. You two should not go too far. Ning Zhongza said coldly. The realm of the middle stage of the Grandmaster broke out, looking at Fei Bin and Lu Bai fiercely. Why is Madam Yu so angry? We just want to make the Five Mountains sword sect better. Since you still want to consider Koala, we will give you some time. But we will take my niece to Xuanhuan sword sect first and help you take care of her for a while. Don't worry, Madam Yu, we will definitely take good care of my niece, Lu Bai said with a smile. Following that, Fei Bin stretched out his hand to grab Yu Lingshan. The action was so fast that Ning Zhongza didn't react at all. In the blink of an eye, Fei Bin appeared in front of Yu Lingshan. Niece, follow uncle. Uncle will take good care of you. Fei Bin laughed grimly. Ning Zhongza reacted and drew his sword and shouted, Lingshan, retreat. But it was too late. Fei Bin had already stretched out his hand. He was about to catch Yu Lingshan. Chapter 51. Yu Lingshan is on the list. 9 Tribulation sword kills people. Please give flowers, votes, collections, comments. Fei Bin, stop. Ning Zhongza shouted hurriedly. Lu Bai drew his sword and stopped Ning Zhongza's attack. Mrs. Yu, don't be so anxious, we have no ill intentions. We just want to invite Miss Yu to visit Xuanhuan sword sect. We will take good care of her. Lu Bai said calmly. In Xuanhuan sword sect, except Xuanhuan, Lu Bai has the best kung fu. It is more than enough to deal with Ning Zhongza, a mid-level grandmaster. Lu Bai. Ning Zhongza roared angrily. Seeing this, Fei Bin became even more unscrupulous. They knew Huashan sword sect better than many of its disciples. Yu Lingshan in front of him was at most a mid-stage Xiantian warrior. He was a mid-stage grandmaster warrior, and it was like using a butcher knife to kill a chicken to deal with her. Don't be afraid, niece. Uncle won't do anything to you. Fei Bin said with a fierce smile. Yu Lingshan stood there motionless, and Fei Bin thought that Yu Lingshan was scared silly. Just when Fei Bin was getting carried away, a white light suddenly flashed. It was so fast that Fei Bin didn't see clearly what was going on. He only saw that Yu Lingshan didn't know when a sword appeared in her hand. The next second, intense pain spread all over Fei Bin's body. You. Fei Bin pointed at Yu Lingshan, then, his head fell to the ground. The last thing Fei Bin saw was his headless body. All this happened very quickly, and Fei Bin died in a flash. Lu Bai didn't even react to what happened until Fei Bin's blood splashed on him. What's going on? Lu Bai hurriedly got rid of Ning Zhongza's entanglement and came to Fei Bin's body. Ning Zhongza was also stunned when she saw the scene in front of her. She looked at Yu Lingshan in disbelief. This daughter who was with her every day and the most familiar, suddenly became so unfamiliar. Lingshan, did you do it just now? Ning Zhongza asked tremblingly. Yu Lingshan nodded and said, originally, I promised him that I would not show my strength easily. But, in this scene today, I have to do it. I hope he won't blame me when he knows. After Yu Lingshan killed someone, her first reaction was not discomfort or anything else, but thinking about not being blamed by Xiaoyao Ku. If Ying Ziyu knew what Yu Lingshan was thinking at this time, he would definitely smile and say that she was silly and cute. Yu Lingshan, you actually killed someone from my Xuanhuan sword sect. Do you know that this will bring disaster to Huashan sword sect? Lu Bai was no longer as calm as before. The task assigned by his senior brother was not completed, and his junior brother was killed. How can he explain this when he goes back? Do you really think that my Huashan sword sect is afraid of your Songzhan sword sect? If you have the ability, let Xuanhuan come. I want to see what Xuanhuan is capable of. Yu Lingshan said coldly, since the strength has been revealed, there is absolutely no mercy, the enemy must be put to death. This is what Xiaoyao taught her back then. She has always kept it in mind. Just when Lu Bai was about to say something, the Tianjiao list changed again. Tianjiao list number 12. Yu Lingshan. Identity, the daughter of the head of the Huashan sword sect of the Ming Dynasty. Realm, Grandmaster Perfect Peak. Kung Fu, 9 Tribulations Sword Technique, Shocking Cloud and Snow Step, 7 Absolute Divine Palm. Reward, Earth Level Mid-Grade Elixir, Sword Pattern Golden Pill, which increases internal strength by 100 years after taking it, and doubles the power of sword techniques. Lu Bai looked at Yu Lingshan in shock. Based on their understanding of the Songzhan sword sect against the Huashan sword sect, Yu Lingshan simply couldn't have such a strong strength, absolutely impossible. Section 63. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For a moment, Lu Bai had doubts about the Tianjiao list, but thinking of Fei Bin's sudden death just now, Lu Bai's doubts disappeared. I never thought that the most hidden person in Huashan sword sect was you. It seems that we all misjudged you. As Lu Bai spoke, he began to laugh. Yu Lingshan saw this and shot out a sword energy with the 9 Tribulations sword. In an instant, Lu Bai was split in two. Ning Zhongzi saw that Yu Lingshan easily solved the 2 masters of Songzhan sect. While feeling relieved, he also had many doubts. Lingshan, who is he you just mentioned? Ning Zhongzi asked. Mom, I will tell you about this later. Let's deal with these 2 bodies first and let all the disciples of Huashan sword sect see them. My Huashan sword sect cannot be insulted, Yu Lingshan said calmly. Ning Zhongzi smiled and nodded, agreeing with his daughter's suggestion. Ning Zhongzi was very happy to see his daughter handle things so well. Daming, Songzhan sword sect. Xuanhuan was so angry that he smashed the table in front of him when he saw Yu Lingshan on the list. Grandmaster Perfect Peak. What a Yu Lingshan, she is so well hidden. I hope that the second and third junior brothers will not say too much and come back safely. Xuanhuan began to worry about Lu Bai and Fei Bin. However, his worry was destined to be in vain because the 2 were already dead. It seems that my plan to unify the 5 mountain sword sect has changed again. I have to plan it carefully. Should I accept the invitation of Zhu Wuxi, the iron-hearted god of Hulongvilla? Xuanhuan began to think. Originally, he relied on Zhu Wuxi. Otherwise, with the strength of the 5 mountain sword sect, it would have been destroyed by Dongfang Bubi of the Sun and Moon sect. Not long ago, Zhu Wuxi sent an invitation to Xuanhuan. Let Xuanhuan become a secret force under Hulongvilla. To put it bluntly, he wanted to turn Songzhan sword sect into a pawn of Zhu Wuxi in the southwestern martial arts world of Ming Dynasty. Originally, it was a cooperative relationship, but now it has become a subordinate relationship. Xuanhuan couldn't accept it. Now, he was a little shaken. Blackwood Cliff. Dongfang Bubi laughed. I didn't expect Yu Buchuan to have such a good daughter. At such a young age, she not only knows how to hide her shortcomings, but also has reached the peak of the Grandmaster's perfection. Interesting, really interesting. Come on, check this Yu Lingshan for me. I want to know all her information. Including who she contacted and what she did every day. Dongfang Bubi gave the order. With the strength of Huashan sword sect and Yu Buchuan, it is impossible to teach a Grandmaster's peak warrior. Dongfang Bubi can be sure that Yu Lingshan has a secret. She is very interested in this secret. Yes. After the people below left, Yang Lianting stood up and said, Master, our daughter Ren Yingying, who is on a mission, and the left-handed Xiang Wentian came in with strange whereabouts. Should we make any preparations? Dongfang Bubi waved his hand and said, No, they can't make any waves. She never took Ren Yingying and Xiang Wentian seriously. Even if they could rescue Ren Wuxing, what would happen? Dongfang Bubi was not afraid at all. With her current strength, it would be easy to kill Ren Wuxing. Yes, sir. Yang Lianting lowered his head, his eyes flickering. Hulong Villa, Ling Huchong, who joined Hulong Villa, saw Yu Lingshan on the Tianjiao list and laughed happily. I originally thought I was the most powerful disciple of Huashan's sword sect. I didn't expect that my junior sister has reached the peak of Grandmaster. With my junior sister here, Huashan's sword sect will definitely be safe. Ling Huchong said with a smile. He has always been worried that after the death of his master Yu Buchuan, Huashan's sword sect will have an accident. Now, the little sister is stronger than the living master at that time, and can fully protect the Huashan sword sect. Brother Linghu, your little sister is really amazing. She has reached the Grandmaster level at such a young age, which really makes us ashamed. Qin Shifei scratched his face and said helplessly. Brother Cheng, there is no need to be like this. Everyone has his own opportunity. We will definitely be able to stand at the top of the Jiuzhou Jianghu. Ling Huchong said with a smile. Then, the two left to carry out the mission. Chapter 52. Yi Lin is on the list, and Li Shimon's letter arrives in Qin. Please give flowers, evaluation votes, collections, and comments. Somewhere in the Ming Dynasty, Feng Qingyang was very surprised when he saw Yu Lingshan. No wonder I felt that the little girl had a very unusual internal force that day. It turns out that she has reached the peak of Grandmaster level. It's so well hidden that even I didn't notice it. Feng Qingyang smiled with relief. Although he is the descendant of the sword sect of Huashan sword sect, he doesn't like Yu Buchuan very much. However, he knew that Yu Lingshan was a very good child. With her around, the danger of Huashan sword sect could be overcome. What is this 9 tribulations sword technique? How come I have never heard of such a sword technique in Jiuzhou? Feng Qingyang noticed Yu Lingshan's technique. He was very interested in the 9 tribulations sword technique. He thought that he would definitely learn the 9 tribulations sword technique in person if he had the chance. The imperial palace of the Ming Dynasty. Zhu Wuxi looked at the list and his face darkened. Section 64. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He originally thought that after recruiting Ling Huchong, the Huashan sword sect would no longer have any good prospects to pay attention to. After all, Lin Pingji, another person on the list, has mysteriously disappeared. There was no trace at all. Unexpectedly, another Yu Lingshan suddenly appeared. Not only did his realm far surpass that of Ling Huchong and Lin Pingji, he had reached the pinnacle of master perfection. Zhu Wuwu had never heard of those skills he knew. However, his intuition told him that these techniques were very unusual. Otherwise, Yu Lingshan would not be allowed to become a grandmaster. You must know that the realm of a warrior is closely related to the skills he practices. Good skills can easily help warriors enter a higher realm, but inferior skills, no matter how talented they are, will find it difficult to become a high-level warrior. Come here, send someone to the Huashan sword sect to contact Yu Lingshan. As long as she agrees to let the Huashan sword sect become my chess piece, I can help the Huashan sword sect become the leader of the 5 mountain sword sect. Zhu Wulan squinted his eyes, his expression very serious. He must have a relatively strong secret in the southwestern arena of the Ming Dynasty. In this way, he can increase his control over Ming Dynasty. In fact, what Zhu Wuli wanted most was the Sun and Moon God sect, but Dongfang Invincible is stronger. Even if Zhu Wuli shows his strength, he may not be able to defeat Dongfang Invincible. That's why Zhu Wuwu retreated to the next best thing and chose the 5 mountain sword sect. Hope it goes well this time, Zhu Wulan said calmly. Last time, his action against the Ming cult had not yet begun. Then we got the news that Yin Susu was temporarily acting as the leader of Mingjiao, so Zhu Wuwu started to change his plan again, but the new plan just succeeded. The Ming cult issued a fatwa to kill Qin Kuan, and Yin Susu became the real leader. This made Zhu ignored all his plans to go to waste. This time the list of geniuses started to be refreshed very quickly. 13th place on the list of geniuses. Yilin. Identity, female disciple of the Hengshan sect of the Ming Dynasty. Realm, Grandmaster reaches the pinnacle of perfection. Skills, Tathagata Palm, Brahma Prajna. Reward, Earth level mid-grade treasure, Sanskrit Sakya Rosary. After use, it can release bursts of Sanskrit sounds, causing the enemy's 6 roots to become pure immediately. Put down the weapon in your hand, it can automatically protect the user, and can withstand 3 full blows from the Grandmaster's peak perfection. Double the power of Buddhist exercises. The Grand Master Warrior is completed, and 1 month later the list of geniuses will be released from the 10th to the 1st place, which will be the list of Grand Master and above. Based on strength, luck, talent, destiny, and origin, martial arts masters can be on the list. Note, although the Xiantian list and Grandmaster list have been announced, they will change at any time. The conditions for being on the list are that if you are under the age of 30, you can surpass the people on the list in all aspects, or kill the people on the list, and you can replace them. Hengshan Sword Sect. Yi Lin looked at the rosary beads that appeared in her hand, her expression a little dull. She didn't expect that she would be on the list. How have you been doing these past few years? Yilin thought of Zayak's figure in her heart. She turned her rosary beads and chanted the Dharma. Immediately afterwards, Master Dingyi and other members of the Hengshan Sword Sect appeared in front of Yilin. Yilin, when did you enter the realm of master perfection? Master Dingyi was the first to ask. She is Yilin's master, and the two of them get along day and night. Unexpectedly, this apprentice who is usually inconspicuous, but is so kind and sensible that makes people feel heartbroken, quietly has a higher level than himself. Master, I. Yilin's face turned red and she didn't know what to say for a moment. Don't be in a hurry, speak slowly, speak slowly. Master Dingyi hurriedly comforted Yilin. She usually loves Yilin very much, but now she is even reluctant to say harsh words to Yilin. When the other disciples saw this, they showed no jealousy at all. Instead, he laughed heartily. They all like Yilin, and now they see Yilin is so strong. I was also happy for Yilin. In this way, they don't have to worry about Yilin being bullied in the future. Master, this matter is a long story. I'll tell you slowly. Yilin took 2 deep breaths and began to speak. At the same time, the Songshan Sword Sect, Zhuo Lingchan's face became extremely ugly. First there was Yu Lingshan from the Huashan Sword Sect, and now there is Yilin from the Hengshan Sword Sect. Are these 2 people deliberately going against him? There was no time to come out, but he came out when he was determined to unify the 5 Mountain Sword Sect. Isn't this just a slap in the face? Not good. Somebody come. Call Zhao Sihai, Zhang Jingchao, and Sima de back. Zhuo Lingchan hurriedly ordered down. Not long ago, he had just sent these 3 people to assassinate people from the Hengshan Sword Sect. Zhuo Lingchan wouldn't have had such a big reaction before. Letting the 3 of them go now would undoubtedly lead to death. Yilin's strength far surpassed them. Assassination will only become a joke. The Qin, Xianyang Palace. The expression on Ying Zheng's face was as cold as ever. He was not affected at all by the matter of the genius list. The Qin's secretly hidden organizational strength is so strong that Ying Zheng doesn't even bother to be on this list of geniuses. Now he only wants to govern the Qin dynasty well, eliminate the rebels among the various schools of thought, as well as the remnants of the 6 kingdoms, and build a strong Qin dynasty. Because his ultimate goal is to eliminate the rest of the countries and unify the 9 states. Your Majesty, this is the letter from Emperor Li Shimin of the Tang dynasty. Zhao Gao put the letter in front of Ying Zheng. After reading it, Ying Zheng said lightly, this Li Shimin has a good plan. Zhao Gao, gather the ministers. Yes, Zhao Gao said respectfully. He didn't know the content of the letter, so he was a little curious about what was written on it. Section 65. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He actually asked His Majesty to summon the ministers. Remarks on the launch. The next chapter is out. Because I was back home during the Chinese New Year, this book was put on the shelves relatively slowly, and there were very few updates for a few days during this period. It will be updated normally after it is put on the shelves. The guaranteed number of updates on the first day is 20,000 words. In the future, if there are 300 subscriptions, 10,000 words will be updated every day. If there are 500 subscriptions, 15,000 will be updated every day. If there are 800 subscriptions, at least 20,000 will be updated every day. The more you subscribe, the more updates you will get. The author is full of liver. Subscriptions on the first day determine whether a book can continue to be written. Here, I sincerely beg all readers to subscribe and support me. Commitment to adhere to originality and eliminate violations. Strawberry Hongchen, guarantee that the contracted work is my own original work, and that I will create it in strict accordance with the Feilu Writers' Agreement during the creative process. I will insist on originality and eliminate the following violations. If there is any violation, I am willing to bear all the consequences arising therefrom. 1. Ensure that the signed works are your own original works and do not involve plagiarism or plot plagiarism in Chinese translation. 2. Ensure that no third-party works or plots are plagiarized during the creation process. 3. Ensure that Falun Network is the first and only contracted website for this work. 4. Ensure that you abide by laws and regulations during the creative process, including but not limited to, no political involvement, no involvement in pornography, gambling or drugs, no promotion of cults, no ghostwriting, no scrapping of manuscripts, no hosting, no selling of works and accounts, and other violations. 4. It is guaranteed that no matter how many words the work has, the contracted work must have a complete plot and will never be unfinished or complete. Chapter 53, which young master is suitable for marriage with the Tang Dynasty. First update of 3,000 words. Please subscribe. The Qin Chaotang. After hearing the edict, civil and military officials quickly gathered together. Your Majesty has arrived. Zhao Gao's Drake voice shouted. After a while, Ying Ziyu, wearing black clothes, came over. Join your Majesty. That the ministers bowed their hands. The Qin cannot kneel down and worship. That's something only barbarians like the Manchus outside the pass would do. Zhao Gao, read. Ying Ziyu said. Zhao Gao took out the credentials of the Tang Dynasty. After reading the content clearly, Zhao Gao was shocked. The Tang Dynasty actually wanted to marry the Qin Dynasty. Zhao Gao quickly came to his senses and read out the contents of the credential. After reading it, the ministers below began to discuss. Your Majesty, what does Tang Emperor Li Shimin mean by this? The Tang Dynasty is far away from the Qin Dynasty. Why does he suddenly want his daughter to marry the son of the Qin Dynasty? Li Si stood up and said, no matter how he thought about it, he felt that this matter would not be of much benefit to both parties. For a moment, he was a little confused about the thoughts of Tang Emperor Li Shimin. I am not asking you to ask questions, but I am asking you to express your opinions. Ying Ziyu said coldly. Li Si hurriedly bent down and bowed and said, I know the crime. Fusu was the first to stand up and said, Your Majesty, I think the Tang Emperor's marriage proposal is very good. It will help increase the relationship between my country, Great Qin, and Great Tang. Just imagine, if all countries were to marry each other, wouldn't it mean that there would be peace in Kyushu and there would be no wars? In the Qin, even Ying Ziyu's son could not call Ying Ziyu his father. Instead, call him Your Majesty. This is where the Qin is different from other countries. After hearing what Fusu said, Ying Ziyu frowned. He always hated Fusu's whimsical and extremely pedantic remarks. I do not agree with what Mr. Fusu said. There is only one way to prevent war in Kyushu. That is to unify Kyushu. Secondly, even if we marry with the Tang Dynasty, the Qin Dynasty, must take the initiative. Li Si said very firmly. He has been with Ying Ziyu for many years and knows exactly what Ying Ziyu is thinking. In any matter and in any aspect, Ying Ziyu must have the absolute initiative. This is Ying Ziyu's tyranny. It was precisely because Fusu failed to see through this. In addition, it is deeply influenced by Confucian culture, especially the influence of corrupt Confucianism. This led to Fusu's ideas being refuted by Ying Ziyu everywhere. Fusu frowned. He always felt that His Majesty's behavior was too overbearing. Moreover, he doesn't like fighting. He felt that as long as no one wanted to unify Kyushu, no one wanted to destroy the rest of the countries, Jiuzhou can be balanced and the people can live a good life. Your Majesty, I think it doesn't matter even if you give in a little bit. The important thing is the marriage between my country, Great Qin, and Great Tang. The marriage between the two countries can help each other and promote the development of both countries. This is a good thing for the people of both countries. Fusu still stuck to his ideas. He felt that he was not wrong. He felt that as long as people in Kyushu implemented his ideas, Kyushu would definitely be able to achieve peace. Pedantic. Ying Ziyu angrily threw the memorial in front of him on the ground. Fusu, you are the eldest son of our Qin dynasty, not the eldest son of the Tang dynasty. What you do and think should be for the interests of Great Qin, not betraying the interests of Great Qin, Ying Ziyu said angrily. Only when facing Fusu would Ying Ziyu become so angry, because he was training Fusu as the future successor of Great Qin. but Fusa disappointed Yingzheng too much, therefore, Yingzheng began to train the 18th son Hu Hai again. As for the rest of the princes, Yingzheng felt that none of them could be trained. This was the conclusion Yingzheng came to after observing at the black ice platform. It must be said that Ying Ziyu was so well hidden that he was not discovered under such circumstances. Zhao Gao was secretly happy when he saw Fusa being scolded. He was Hu Hai's teacher, so he naturally hoped that Hu Hai would ascend the throne in the future. The more Fusa was scolded, the more his status in His Majesty's heart would be lowered, so that Hu Hai would have a greater chance of inheriting the throne. Section 66. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Once Hu Hai became the emperor, as the emperor's teacher, Zhao Gao's status would also rise accordingly. Which young master is of an age suitable for marriage with the Tang dynasty? After Yingzheng finished scolding Fusu, the expression on his face returned to the cold look before. Your Majesty, how many young masters are there for the time being? The 5th young master, the 7th young master, the 9th young master, the 12th young master, the 18th young master. Zhongzheng stood up and said, his position is one of the 9 Qings, and he is responsible for the affairs of the Ying clan of Great Qin, so he knows the princes of the royal family very well. After I go to court, let the 4 of them come to see me. Meng Tian, are you ready for the war against the Huns in the north? Yingzheng asked. Meng Tian, who was wearing armor, came out and said, the army is ready and ready to go at any time. Very good. Retreat. After Yingzheng said that, he stood up and left. He has always been so domineering. He said that he had called the ministers to discuss the marriage. In fact, I just called them here and informed them of this incident. As for who to choose, the officials could not say. After all, this is the royal family's own business. After Zhao Gao left the court, he immediately went to find Hu Hai. Hu Hai must not be allowed to marry into the Tang dynasty. Once they get married, Hu Hai will lose many opportunities when competing for the throne in the future. Zhao Gao must tell Hu Hai about this matter. Ying Ziyu already knew what happened in the court. De Tang wants to marry De Qin. After Ying Ziyu heard this, his hands stopped. What is Li Shimin doing? Why does he suddenly want to marry De Qin? Jiang Yuyan was also curious. Who knows? Ying Ziyu didn't care. At this moment, a eunuch came over. 9th young master, your majesty asked your servant to call you to the study. The eunuch said respectfully. Nu. Ying Ziyu waved his hand and stood up to go to the study. Jiang Yuyan knew that her master was also one of the candidates for this marriage. This time I went to the imperial study room to be inspected by Yingzheng. Jiang Yuyan didn't have the slightest opinion in her heart about who Ying Ziyu's real wife was. She even thought about capturing all the beautiful women in Kyushu to serve her master. Hu Hai is here. Teacher, who are you to make me behave worse? Hu Hai asked in surprise. When he learned that De Tang was going to marry Great Qin, his first reaction was excitement and happiness, and he wanted to fight for this opportunity. In Hu Hai's view, as long as the marriage with De Tang is successful, behind him was the help of De Tang. By then, the chances of competing for the throne will be much greater. He originally wanted to discuss with the teacher how to get the opportunity. As a result, the teacher forced him to give up. Hu Hai didn't understand. Your Highness, do you think this is a good opportunity? Once you marry the Tang dynasty, you will have an extra bargaining chip in your hand, and you can beat the eldest son in some aspects. Zhao Gao asked calmly while drinking tea. He knew Hu Hai's temper and character clearly. Sometimes Hu Hai didn't even need to speak. Zhao Gao knew what Hu Hai was thinking. Hu Hai nodded and said, isn't it like this? Zhao Gao put down his teacup and spoke slowly. Young master, your majesty thinks too easily. Your Majesty will not marry an emperor who is likely to inherit the throne or has the ability to marry the Tang dynasty. The so-called marriage is said to be used to consolidate the relationship between the two countries. Actually, anyone with a discerning eye knows it. It's just a cover. It's going to be complicated here. Besides, according to His Majesty's character, even if it is a marriage, Your Majesty will use mediocre young masters. Although Zhao Gao is not a very good person, he still has the sharp eyesight and analytical skills required to become the leader of the snare. De Tang and Qin had no previous contacts. Suddenly, the Tang dynasty wanted to marry the Qin dynasty. No matter how you think about this matter, you will feel that it is abnormal and there must be a secret in it. However, this secret belongs exclusively to the emperor. the people below are not accessible at all. Moreover, Zhao Gao has served Ying for many years and knows his master's character very well. Now that he knew there was a secret, Ying would never use an outstanding young master to marry Datang. Presumably the same is true in Datang. Zhao Gao also made inferences about Li Shimon's decision. Hu Hai didn't understand what he heard and asked, why did the teacher say that? That he has a heart that wants to be an emperor, but he does not have the ability to be an emperor, so he can only rely on Zhao Gao for everything. This is also the reason why Zhao Gao wanted to put Hu Hai on the throne. It is easier to control an emperor who can only rely on him, so that he can better satisfy his ambitions. Does your highness know what kind of person his majesty is? Zhao Gao did not answer Hu Hai's question, but asked this question. Hu Hai was a little dazed when asked, thought for a while, and said, Li Qianzhao is domineering, indifferent, decisive, has a unique vision of things, and is also very far-sighted. Hu Hai said these words, this is Ying in his eyes. After hearing this, Zhao Gao became more determined to let Hu Hai ascend the throne. What Hu Hai said could be said by any official of Great Qin. This also proves that Hu Hai does not understand Ying at all. A person who wants to be an emperor but is unwilling to study carefully what an emperor is and how to be an emperor will be very easy to control. Your Majesty is an ambitious man, Zhao Gao said lightly. Immediately, he continued, an ambitious person will never allow outstanding descendants to marry other countries. Section 67. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Because, in this way, once the two countries go to war, the descendants of the marriage will definitely be embarrassed. At this time, if you are an outstanding descendant, even if your Majesty doesn't say anything, you will take this relationship into consideration in your heart. But if it were a mediocre offspring, there would be no need to consider it at all. Because these people have no chance of inheriting the throne. So, your highness understands. Zhao Gao stared at Hu Hai calmly. Hu Hai still seemed to understand but still nodded thoughtfully. Okay, your highness, we should go to the study to meet his majesty, Zhao Gao said. Hu Hai nodded and stood up. Then, the two of them walked towards the study room. Chapter 54, When did the queen become so powerful? Second update of 3,000 words requires first order. When approaching the study, Ying Ziyu saw Hu Hai and Zhao Gao. See ninth young master. Brother ninth. Zhao Gao and Hu Hai said. Ying Ziyu nodded and walked straight into the study without saying anything. Hu Hai and Zhao Gao didn't say much. The two of them had no impression of Ying Ziyu, let alone what kind of person Ying Ziyu was. All I know is that Ying doesn't pay much attention to this ninth young master, and Ying Ziyu himself spends all day living and drinking. Such people are no threat at all. Entering the study, Ying Ziyu saw that the other young masters had arrived. See your majesty. Ying Ziyu bowed his hands. Ying nodded, taking it as a reply. After Zhao Gao and Hu Hai also came in, everyone arrived. I believe you already know why I called you here today. I only have one question to ask. Which one of you is willing to marry the Tang dynasty? Ying's tone was cold, there was even a cold look in his eyes. After watching it, people feel a wave of fear, except for Ying Ziyu and Hu Hai. The other young masters lowered their heads and did not dare to look at Ying. When Ying saw how calm Ying Ziyu was, he felt a little confused. He set his sights on Ying Ziyu. In more than 10 years, this was the first time that Ying looked at Ying Ziyu so carefully, this ninth young master of Great Qin. Ying Ziyu met Ying's gaze and looked over. He was also sizing up Ying, the emperor who destroyed the 6 kingdoms and established the Qin Dynasty. The frosty face has traces of time, and the face that has been frozen for thousands of years is even more frightening. Hu Hai saw Ying Ziyu and Ying looking at each other and looked at the two curiously. However, after only watching for a while, Hu Hai felt his eyes stinging and hurriedly lowered his head, not daring to look at the two of them. Hu Hai was very shocked. Ying Ziyu was able to 597 look at his majesty's eyes for so long. Why can't I? That Hu Hai felt very unhappy. He has always felt that he is the best among Ying's descendants, and that should be the case in all aspects, but now he actually lost to Ying Ziyu. This guy is inconspicuous and has no sense of existence at all. Hu Hai felt very irritable. Why are you looking at me? Aren't you afraid? Ying asked. His sharp eyes were still staring at Ying Ziyu. The tone of his speech was still so cold, as if it were frozen for thousands of years. The rest of the people in the hall trembled subconsciously. Why is your majesty looking at me? Ying Ziyu asked rhetorically. Others may be afraid of Ying Zheng, but Ying Ziyu is not afraid at all. When Hu Hai and other young masters saw that Ying Ziyu was so bold, they not only did not answer his majesty's questions, but even asked him in return. My heart suddenly tightened. If you want to die, don't hold us back. That this is what the fifth young master is thinking. What he fears most on weekdays is when he meets Ying Zheng. Every time he meets Ying Zheng, the fifth young master will be sick for several days. How dare you ask your majesty, you really don't know how to live or die. Hu Hai thought to himself, he has always been very well behaved in front of Ying Zheng. Whatever Ying Zheng asked, he would answer obediently. He also showed that he was not afraid of Ying Zheng. It is precisely because of this that Ying Zheng loves Hu Hai particularly. Zhao Gao squinted his eyes and looked at Ying Ziyu, and he couldn't understand what happened to this ninth young master who was usually so low-key that people almost forgot about him today. Ying Zheng was slightly startled when Ying Ziyu asked him this question. Then, the corners of Ying Zheng's mouth slightly raised. He hasn't been as happy as he is at this moment for a long time. 8502965018610647446. Among his own sons, there is actually such an interesting one. I really don't know if the ignorant are fearless or if they are pretending to be calm. Either way, Ying Zheng is very happy. On weekdays, when those sons and daughters saw him, not to mention asking him questions, they were all so frightened that they couldn't even speak clearly. Because of this, Ying Zheng gradually stopped seeing these children. Zhao Gao's eyes widened when he saw Ying Zheng smile. He thought he had seen it wrong. Your Majesty actually laughed. Zhao Gao was very shocked. He couldn't remember how many years it had been since he saw His Majesty smile. Today, because Ying Ziyu asked a question in return, he actually laughed for the first time. Zhao Gao frowned slightly. This was not good news. He had to find a way to deal with all possible situations. Because Hu Hai and others lowered their heads, they did not see Ying Zheng's slight smile clearly. Section 68. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Only Ying Ziyu saw it clearly. Even if he was a powerful emperor and had made many great achievements, in his heart, he still longed to talk to his child. Ying Ziyu said secretly. He understood Ying Zheng's mood at this moment. Because of the need for majesty, Ying Zheng had to put on a cold look all year round, which made Ying Zheng's character colder and colder. People around him were getting more and more afraid of him. At this time, he suddenly found someone who was not afraid of him. It was his son. Ying Zheng would naturally have a different feeling. You don't have to answer. I have decided that the ninth Prince Ying Ziyu will marry the Tang Dynasty. Okay, you can leave. Ying Zheng regained his cold tone and expression. After hearing this decision, Hu Hai was very happy. He had completed the task assigned by the teacher and did not leave a bad impression on His Majesty. The other princes were also relieved. Only Zhao Gao felt that His Majesty's decision was unusual. Obviously, Ying Ziyu had aroused His Majesty's interest and could join the ranks of the inspection. As long as they are qualified, they are eligible to compete for the throne. How could His Majesty be willing to give such an excellent descendant to him to marry with the Tang Dynasty? Is everything I speculated before wrong? Zhao Gao had doubts in his heart. After confirming the candidate, Ying Zheng asked someone to return a letter to Li Shimin, the Tang Dynasty palace. Master Yuan, have you ever heard of this ninth prince of the Qin Dynasty? Li Shimin asked with a frown. He really had no impression of Ying Ziyu. This is the first time I have heard of it. Yuan Tiangang shook his head. He had never heard of this ninth prince of Ying Ziyu before. Yuan Tiangang knew the most about Fusu and Hu Hai among the princes of the Qin Dynasty. After all, these two people are the most likely to inherit the throne of the Qin Dynasty, and they must be paid special attention to. Is Ying Zheng any prince who is fooling me? If that is the case, I will never marry Li Ji to this Ying Ziyu. Li Shimin said angrily. His most beloved daughter was Li Lizzie, his eldest daughter. If she had married a famous prince of the Qin Dynasty, Li Shimin would not have cared. But this time, a nameless ninth prince Ying Ziyu appeared. Li Shimin could not accept this. After he handed over the letter to the Southern Song Dynasty, they begged for marriage with the Tang Dynasty. As a result, when it came to the Qin Dynasty, Ying Zheng did not take it seriously. Just thinking about it, Li Shimin was already very angry. Your Majesty, calm down. It's too early to draw a conclusion now. We have explained the interests to Ying Zheng. With Ying Zheng's vision and wisdom, he will definitely not ignore it. He dared to use this ninth prince for marriage, so he must have something extraordinary. Yuan Tiangang said patiently. He knew Ying Zhang's character, destroying the martial arts world of the Ming Dynasty and causing the Ming Dynasty to continue to be in chaos was like eliminating a potential strong opponent. Ying Zhang would not deal with such an important matter casually. I hope it's as you said, Master Yuan. If this Ying Ziyu is really incompetent, I won't let Li Ji suffer any injustice. Li Shimon's attitude was very firm. The news that Qin and Datong were going to marry soon spread throughout the 9 states. The biggest reaction was from the Great Sui Dynasty, the imperial palace of the Great Sui Dynasty. After Yang Guang learned that Qin and Datong were going to marry, he was so angry that he started to curse directly in the court. Damn Li Shimon, he actually wanted to marry Qin. Ying Zhang is also a fool, he actually agreed to Li Shimon's request. I must kill these 2 people. Yang Guang cursed loudly with red eyes. The court officials below were so scared that they all lowered their heads and dared not look at Yang Guang. Withdraw the court, withdraw the court, Yang Guang said impatiently. The court officials hurriedly left the hall as if they had been pardoned. After the officials left, Yuan Tuo came to Yang Guang. After the marriage with the Qin Dynasty, the strength of the Tang Dynasty will increase, which is very disadvantageous to our Sui Dynasty. Your Majesty should make preparations and plans early, Yuan Tuo said with a serious face. He has never underestimated Li Shimon. He was able to take down a large area of land from the Sui Dynasty and defeated many separatist forces. It is enough to prove that Li Shimon's military talent is very strong. After becoming the emperor after the Xuanhuan Gate incident, he managed the Tang Dynasty in an orderly manner. This also proves that Li Shimon is a good emperor who can lead the Tang Dynasty to prosperity. In terms of seniority, Yang Guang is still Li Shimon's cousin. Li Shimon's grandmother and Yang Guang's mother are sisters, both daughters of Dugu Xian. They are obviously related by blood, but they have a huge gap in being emperors. Yuan Tuo really wants Yang Guang to return to the time when he just became emperor, ambitious, wise, and powerful. But all this can't go back. Have the people from Xuanhuan returned? Yang Guang asked after calming down. He remembered that the swords and horses of Xuanhuan were on the Grandmaster list of the Tianjiao list, which was a good thing for the Sui Dynasty. It will take 2 more days to return to Luoyang, Yuan Tuo said. Okay, very good, pass on my order. After Xuanhuan returns, hold a banquet in the palace. Celebrate the birth of a warrior on the Grandmaster list in the Great Sui Dynasty, Yang Guangda said with a big smile. Section 69. You are listening at novelfull.audio. His emotions changed rapidly before and after. It's like they are 2 completely different people. When Yuan Tuo saw this, he felt even more helpless. At this moment, Xiao Meinyang came over. See your Majesty, meet the Grand Master, Xiao Meinyang said lightly. As the Empress of the Sui Dynasty, she was qualified to know the existence of Yuan Tuo. Queen, when Zhuo Zhao's cavalry guard comes back, I will celebrate the sword and horse properly. When the time comes, you will attend with me, Yang Guang said with a smile. I obey your decree, Xiao Meinyang said. Yuan Tuo looked at Xiao Meinyang, and doubts arose in his heart. When did the queen become so powerful? Chapter 55. The Gold List reappears, the Queen's Secret. The third update of 3,000 words requires first order. The fact that Xiao Meinyang knows Kung Fu is not a secret to Sui Dynasty. After all, many people had seen Xiao Meinyang take action. What surprised Yuan Tuo was that Xiao Meinyang had become so strong. Just standing there gives people a great pressure. What kind of secret does the Empress hide? Would it be better for her to inherit the position of Emperor of the Sui Dynasty? Such an idea popped into Yuan Tuo's mind. This was not what he suddenly thought, but he was completely disappointed with Yang Guang. Although Xiao Meinyang is a queen, she is still a woman. In the future, we will look for outstanding people from the descendants of the Yang family to replace Xiao Meinyang as emperor. At that time, the world in Sui Dynasty will still have the surname Yang. Southern Song Dynasty, Linen. After Zhao Go learned about the marriage between the Tang and the Qin, he sighed helplessly. Prime Minister, do you think my Song Dynasty is too weak? Datong sent us letters of credence in order to consolidate the relationship between the 2 parties. I thought about marriage, but Li Shimon rejected it. In the end, he turned out to be a good person. He rejected me and turned around and got married to Ying Zheng's great Qin. Do you really think I have no temper? That the more Zhao Go thought about it, the angrier he became, and his expression became ferocious. He felt extremely insulted. I felt very unwilling, thinking of directly tearing up the alliance with Datong, but when I thought that Yuan's army was approaching step by step, when necessary, he still needed to ask for help from Datong, so Zhao Go had no choice but to give up this idea. It turned into a helpless sigh. Your Majesty, you don't have to think that way, let me see it. The marriage between the Qin and the Tang may not be a good thing. On the contrary, there are still many hidden dangers and many uncertain factors. Qin Hui narrowed his eyes and said, as soon as Zhao Go heard this, he immediately became energetic and said impatiently, Prime Minister, please tell me in detail. Qin Hui wiped his thoughts and said, although the Tang dynasty was founded not long ago, the national power it displayed was extremely powerful. Similarly, Great Qin's national power is also the top power in Kyushu. Li Shimin and Ying Zheng are both ambitious people. They all think that one day they can unify Kyushu. Your Majesty must know very well whether such a marriage between two countries is a powerful alliance or whether each has its own agenda. After Qin Hui analyzed the situation, he praised Zhao Go's intelligence in disguise. That's exactly what he meant by that last sentence. Even without his analysis, Zhao Go could understand this. Zhao Go laughed loudly and said, you know me, Prime Minister, I did think of this just now. I really hope to see Ying Zheng and Li Shimin fighting one day. At that time, the Song Dynasty, will be able to reap the benefits. Zhao Go had already begun to think about good things, whether it is the Northern Song Dynasty or the Southern Song Dynasty. They all have a common characteristic. When fighting with foreign tribes such as the Turks, Jurchens, Xixia, and Dayuan, they would lose 6 out of 10 battles. Even if they were spared, they would negotiate peace as soon as possible. A large amount of Sui coins are used every year in exchange for the stability of the country. However, when suppressing domestic rebellions and dealing with countries such as Han, Ming, Qin, and Sui, his attitude was very tough. Even if he is temporarily wronged, he always looks for opportunities to take revenge. This is an attitude I have never had when facing a foreign race. Therefore, Kyushu people have an evaluation of the Northern Song Dynasty and the Southern Song Dynasty. Foreign wars are for laymen, but civil wars are for experts. Qin Hui smiled on the surface and said that His Majesty is wise. Secretly, he laughed at Zhao Go. With the national strength of the Southern Song Dynasty, they still wanted to reap the benefits. How whimsical, that the marriage between the Tang Dynasty and the Ming Dynasty spread throughout Kyushu for some time. Boom. There was a deafening sound in Sangxiong. Dazzling golden lights shined down from the sky. The brilliance spread all over Kyushu. The genius list that disappeared for a month appeared again. This time the list is different from the previous two. The golden light was shining, and before the list was opened, the 4 divine beasts of Blue Dragon, White Tiger, Suzaku and Xuanhuan appeared in the 4 directions of the list. Boom. Thunder exploded, simple, noble and grand. The 5-clawed gold dragon pushed the list and slowly opened it. Everyone in Kyushu looked at the list with eager anticipation. Everyone wants to know who will be in the top 10 on the list of geniuses. The imperial palace of the Han Dynasty. Hanling Emperor Lu Hong looked at the list with a pale face. Father, how long do you think my body can last? Are there any elixirs among the rewards on the list that can restore me to my original state? Lu Hong asked Zhang Rang, the eunuch beside him. Section 70. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He spoke with strong anticipation in his tone. Today's Han Dynasty is in a precarious situation, and it is the country in the worst condition among all the countries in the central plains of Kyushu. The powerful family controlled the imperial court and various parts of the Han Dynasty. On the surface, all the forces in the world are secretly controlled by these aristocratic families. Those forces that were hidden did not even appear. As a result, there was not even a single person on the list. For 2 consecutive lists. Your Majesty, don't worry. Once someone from my big brother gets on the list, he gets the magical elixir. I will bring you the elixir as a tribute to your Majesty. Zhang Rang said with a smile. All his power now comes from the emperor. Naturally he did not want the emperor to die. Let the father have a heart. Continue to send people to search for those Jianhu forces that have become secretive. As long as they are willing to join the imperial court, I can agree to any conditions. Lu Hong said firmly. He also knows the current situation of the big man. He also wanted to wipe out all the shortcomings of the big man. However, those aristocratic families have deep roots and their power is too huge. Even if he was the emperor, he would not dare to attack easily. Gradually, Lu Hong's fighting spirit and ideals were all drained away. In the end, he was reduced to the state where he only knows how to live and drink. According to the order, Ming Dynasty Wudang Mountain, ever since being rejected by Zhou Zhiruo, Song Qingshu still refused to give up. He practiced hard, thinking that one day he would be favored by Zhou Zhiruo. Junior sister Zhiruo, one day I will surpass the person you mentioned. I want you to know that I am the best and the best candidate for you. Song Qingshu was practicing his sword while muttering these words. The next moment, lines of text appeared on the list of geniuses in the sky. The 10th to 1st place on the Kyushu Prodigy list is officially opened. All warriors under the age of 30 can enter the list by virtue of their strength, talent, and luck. 10th place on the list of geniuses. Zhou Zhiruo. Identity, female disciple of the Maids sect. Realm, late Grand Master. Exercises, Heart Sword Divine Technique, Bodhidharma Divine Exercise. Reward, Heaven Level Top Grade Elixir, Bodhi Divine Sword Pill. After taking it, the body can transform into the glass Bodhi Divine Sword Constitution. Later stage of Grand Master. Song Qingshu looked at Zhou Zhiruo who was on the list in disbelief. Originally, he thought that Zhou Zhiruo had just entered the Grand Master. With the rewards from the list, he can become a Grand Master sooner or later, and then he can stand in front of Zhou Zhiruo. But he never expected that Zhou Zhiruo would not only be on the list, but also a late-stage Grand Master. In this way, the gap between the two of them will only grow wider. Song Qingshu felt very desperate. He had long asked his father to talk to the Maids sect's Miejie Shirtai about proposing marriage. Master Ju has also agreed. As long as he becomes the Grand Master, Song Qingshu can make his dream come true. Now, everything is empty. Song Qingshu's mentality collapsed, and the internal energy in his body was running around uncontrollably. Intense pain shot through his body. He lay on the ground and began to cry out in pain. Zhou Zhiruo, who had already left Mei, looked at the names on the list and the elixir in his hand, and was stunned. She didn't expect that she would be on the list. Now, he should know that I am on the list, but he just doesn't know if he will come to me. Zhou Zhiruo murmured. She is no longer a disciple of the Maids sect. Since returning from Wudang Mountain last time, the master has been doing her guidance every day. Want her to marry Song Qingshu? Zhou Zhiruo knew that it must be Song Qingshu who persuaded his father Song Yuanxiao. In addition, Master Miejie wanted to strengthen the relationship between Mei and Wudang, so naturally he would not miss this opportunity in vain, so he agreed. After Zhou Zhiruo refused several times, Master Miejie not only did not care about her apprentice's feelings, but also took a very firm attitude, forcing Zhou Zhiruo to make a decision between marrying Song Qingshu or leaving Mei. Hearing this, Zhou Zhiruo knew that his master was determined, so she chose to leave the Maids sect. At this time, in the Maids sect's main hall, Master Ju was extremely angry because of Zhou Zhiruo's departure. Her favorite disciple is Zhou Zhiruo. She taught Zhou Zhiruo's moves with her own hands, and even raised Zhou Zhiruo with her own hands. She treats Zhou Zhiruo as her own daughter. But when she needed Zhou Zhiruo to make sacrifices for the Maids sect most, Zhou Zhiruo refused. This was really unacceptable to Master Miejie. Master, don't be angry. You are so angry that your body is broken because of that traitor. Upon seeing this, Ding Minjun hurriedly stepped forward and began to comfort Master Ju. Zhou Zhiruo left Mei, and the happiest person was Ding Minjun. She usually disliked Zhou Zhiruo. They are all obviously the master's apprentices, so why does the master take special care of Zhou Zhiruo? And she, Ding Minjun, is no less good. Now that it's fine, without Zhou Zhiruo, she, Ding Minjun, can become her master's most beloved apprentice. Ding Minjun felt happy thinking about the good days in the future. If it weren't for the wrong occasion, she would laugh out loud. At this time, Zhou Zhiruo's name appeared on the list of geniuses. Upon seeing this, Master Miejie immediately stood up from his chair, unable to believe what he saw in front of his eyes. What's written on it is your junior sister Zhiruo's name. Master Miejia asked hurriedly, starting from the next chapter. Each chapter is at least 4,000 words, so updates may be slower. So, chapter 56, 9th place on the list, Tianjing sword technique instantly kills Shizhuan. The fourth update of 5,000 words requires first order, although Zhou Zhiruo's name clearly appeared on the list of geniuses.